Hey, what's up? This tutorial is for those people who don't want to create an object in a tutorial, but want to know what tools you have in Blender. This is for you, so let's get started. So when you're opening Blender, you see this kind of stuff. So since we are focusing on 3D modeling, we gonna press General. Blender also has the tools for 2D animation, sculpting, and so on, but we are focusing here on 3D modeling, so just press General. So we are seeing here a lot of things, but don't worry, you will understand this. So here, for example, you see that this is our scene. And here in the scene collection, you can see that there's a camera, here's the camera, the cube, and the light. So when you're pressing these kind of things, you know which object you are pressing. Here, these are the properties. But don't worry, you don't have to understand this right now. There are a lot of settings that you have to change when you are creating a 3D model. So here at the bottom, you can do an animation. But also this is what we are going to do later. So for you, it's kind of important, because you're a beginner, what can Blender do? So when you are getting started, you have to change some settings. For this, you are going to the settings. So here we have the file, for example, and then you can open here another Blender file, you can save it, you can link and append some Blender objects, but in our case, we want to go to Edit, because here are the preferences. So the first thing what you have to do when you're working with Blender, you go to System, and here in System, you have two things what you have to do. So here the memory and limits, the undo steps. The default is 32, but when you are working on your 3D object and you're working like for 1 hour, you're doing a lot of steps. And 32 steps is not so much, so you have to change it to a number, I don't know, like 150 or 200. Then you have 200 undo steps, and that's really nice. And here, if you have a nice graphic card, you have to choose the graphic card. And the other thing is, here in Input, you can emulate a numpad. A numpad is really important. You will see why in the later tutorials, but it's important for those people who have a laptop and don't have a numpad. So that's why you can emulate this and you can use the numpad on your laptop keyboard. For those people who have a keyboard, you don't have to click here emulate numpad because you have a numpad. And here you can install some add-ons and so on. And the other things, you can leave it right now. So let's get started. So here is our 3D scene. As I said, we have here the cube, the camera, and the light. But if you want to work with this, you have to know how to move in this 3D scene, because this is not a 2D scene, it's a 3D scene, so we have to look the 3D object in different perspective. For that, we are pressing the middle mouse button. You can see here what I'm pressing, here in the corner. So with the middle mouse button pressed, we can see the object in different angles. This is really important for your modeling. And what you can do also, you can press Shift and the middle button together, and then you can go from left to right. And the other thing is Control and the middle mouse button pressed, you can zoom in and out. And the other one, Alt, you can see here, you have then a front view, a top view, and the bottom view. And this is with Alt and one pressed middle button. And here in the right corner, you can see where our perspective is right now. So you have to try it out. Shift, a middle mouse button, Alt, and Control, zoom in, zoom out. Okay, so what we are doing next is when we don't want to have that cube, because we don't want to have that cube, we can press the cube and we can press X for delete. X for delete, really simple, and delete it. So we don't have a 3D object in our scene anymore. How can we create another 3D object? And I just want to say, please keep in mind, use the shortcuts, because when you're using the shortcuts, it's so much faster. I'm not showing you how to do it in a mouse click way, because you also can do it like this, but if you're using the shortcuts, you're so much quicker. So Shift A, and here you can see with Shift A, we have a lot of things what we can add in the scene. But in this lesson, we are just focusing on the 3D models, and here you have a plane, a cube, a circle, and a cylinder or the monkey. Here's now the new 3D object, our monkey. And we can look the monkey from different angles. You just have to try it out by yourself. But what if we want to move that object? Because our monkey is now central. But maybe we want to put the monkey a little bit higher in our scene. This is also really simple. You press G for move, and then you can move the monkey in your scene. G. Just G, like this, and with a click you leave it in your position. G and click is there. The other thing is, what if we want to have the monkey head bigger? This is also really simple. Just press S for scale. You can see that when I'm moving the mouse right now, in and out, the monkey head is going to be bigger or smaller. And now the other question is, what if we want to rotate the head? This is also really simple. We're just pressing R for rotate. So with this and moving the mouse, we can rotate the head. So it's really, really simple. And what I did with G, R, and S, you can also see here in this panel, in the options panel, that we can change the position with the X and the Y axis and the Z axis and the rotation. We can change it also here with the mouse. So it's up to you how you scale it or how you rotate it or how you changing the location of the object, but it's so much faster with the shortcuts. What if I want to move the monkey, but I want to move the monkey just on the X axis? This is also really simple. You're pressing G for move and X, and then you can see it's just moving on the X axis. Or G and Y, also on the Y axis. G and Z, it's the same. And the same thing you can do with scale on the Y axis, scale on the X axis, scale on the Z axis. Really, really easy. And don't forget, you can also do this with R, rotate, rotate Z axis, rotate X axis, and rotate Y axis. We now know how to move and rotate and scale an object in a 3D scene. And what if I want to duplicate my object because it's so beautiful and I just want to duplicate it? You are pressing Shift D, and then we have a duplicate of our monkey. And remember, if you are doing this, Shift plus D, you're making a duplicate, and these are then a standalone. All the properties from that monkey are on this monkey. And when you're changing this monkey, the monkey will be still the same. they are standalone. So there's another option to have a copy from that object. I showed you Shift plus D. Shift plus D is a duplicate from that object. But the other option is Alt plus D. And the difference here is that this is a clone from this one. All the properties which the main object have, the clone will also have. But the duplicate, it will not get the properties. So I'm showing this with the coloring. So here's my monkey, and I'm creating here at the material properties, I'm choosing a new color, here new, and then on the base color, I'm changing the color, I don't know, into red. And you can see that just the clone has a color, but the duplicate, it does not have the color. Okay, I hope you liked the tutorial for Blender 3. I created for you a shortcuts list. This is here. You can also see this picture on my website. I link it in the description. And I hope you like the first tutorial of Blender 3 and you like it to just see the tools and not to create an object. So it's your turn to play around and you can choose what you will do right now. And see you in the next tutorial. Like and subscribe and bye!